All right, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So we're continuing our catch up with Akane-Banashi. It's probably going to be the last video for today. We caught up with the rest of the chapters by tomorrow, and then by next week I will be fully caught up with the series. So I will then start doing weekly reaction reviews for it then. Before we dive into the story here, I just want to preface this by saying if you've enjoyed my content, if you do enjoy my content, please do consider commenting, subscribing, especially if you haven't already, because helping me push those buttons helps me promote my videos to YouTube's algorithm. And I want to try to grow my channel this year, be more consistent with uploading content. So if you'd like to help me out with that, I would be very thankful and would greatly appreciate it. So without further ado, let us dive into Story 39, Akane-Banashi, Story 39, Ookanban, story by Yuki Suenaga, translation by Stephen Paul, art by Takamasa Moe, and lettering by Sneer Aran. And we have a big, little, pretty profile photo of the female Rakugoka, Urara Ransaika. Give me a second here. Come on, don't. And you see, what was it, Kokoro, I want to say? God, I need him to show up more so I can actually memorize his name. Give me a second. Rokuro. I know it's a something Okuro, but I keep saying Kokoro instead of Rokuro. But I kind of thinks back to Rokuro telling her, but be aware that the Roku Mekai is a Neta Oroshi event. That means everyone involved is performing their particular story for the very first time. Kind of looking anxious and what should I do now? Even after that conversation yesterday. Oh, god damn, she's getting the cold shoulder. You see this scruffy, old-looking, stubbly guy coming in going, oh, time to get changed. And as Akane offers to be able to take his jacket, he's like, I'll take that for you. He's like, no, not you, Arakawa. Yeah, some of the masters avoided me, probably due to the rumors. At this rate, I won't learn any new stories. And she thinks back to Shigumo telling her from Shu to Ha. And after having that conversation, I can't just run back to Master for help. She's like, huh? He's like, what? And she sees outside the Raku area for Urara, there's this huge lineup of men. He's like, I didn't know the line outside could get this long. An anxious bro from yesterday pops up behind her and goes, first time seeing it? Yes, an Ookanban is worth lining up for. And he's like, eek! Screaming like that hurts my feelings. He's like, no, just warn me first. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, what was that word you just mentioned? Ookanban? And he's just kind of this look of oh my god. He's like, sorry for not knowing things. He's like, among Shinichi, there are a small handful of Rakugoka who are so popular and powerful that they can fill an entire performance hall because people want to just see them. Those Rakugoka are known as Ookanban. It's like, then the line you saw waiting outside is for today's closer, the most successful female Rakugoka at the moment, Master Urara Ransaika. And Akane is like, oh wow, she's so beautiful. Is that her perfume? I saw something sweet in the air. And she goes, how long are you going to stand there gawking? They're like, ah, sorry. It's your Kushunk. And Master? You got here before me? And you see another hottie shown up with Mayura Ransaika. She looks like a tan woman with a short bob cut. And Akane, she's got two rollers and a couple of bags with her. And Akane's like, so much stuff. It's like, I suppose I was too early. It's like, not at all. I'll get everything set up now. You see, she pulls out a stool, a little special mat, a bunch of teapots, and a bunch of other things. And you see Urara just kind of taking a seat, looking all regal as she takes a sip of her tea. And Akane's like, she bought her own tea cushion? It's like, very good. It's like, thank you, Master. And Akane is like, do you always come this prepared? He's like, yes. In fact, I packed a bit on the lighter side today. It's like, really? Even with all this? It's like, that must be so much work. And Mayura's like, not at all. I get to be at my master's side. It brings me nothing but joy. Oh my god. It's like, oh, I know, Master. I bought 5 kimono with me today. Which one would you like to wear? It's like, you bought that many for me? Thank you. It's a great help. And you see Mayura's got like this look of ecstasy on her face. It's like, oh, it was my pleasure. Akane's like, why does this feel so weird? And you see that the other master that ignored Akane comes up, like, oh, Master Urara, it's been far too long. And you see Akane going, oh, I get it now. And you see a guy coming in, another Zenza, I assume, coming in with like a pile of gifts, being like, these are from the audience, Master. It's like, it's the way they look at her. That's what's weird. It's almost like they're desperate to get any words they can from her. And she kind of slyly looks over at Akane, who kind of just shivers. And you have Anxious Bro going, maybe the story is true. It's like, what story? It's like, oh, it's just a rumor, nothing more. They say at her first performance, Master Urara forgot her material, and for the oh my fucking god. And for the 8 minutes she needed to fill, she just sat there without uttering a single word. It's like, that actually kind of takes a lot of guts, huh? It's like, yeah, exactly. But that's not the crazy part. It's that of all the people who took the stage that day, Master Urara got the greatest applause. It's like, even when she didn't say anything, it's like, it's not like I believe the story, but my master told me that Master Urara's performances are like a drug. And you see later, as everyone's getting ready, Urara comes up behind Akane and goes, you there, may I have a moment? And she dresses up her up in one of the kimonos, like, that's not bad. Yes, that looks quite good on you. Akane's like, it's nearly time for you to go on, right? What are you? Just killing time. And Mayura's just like watching from behind the walls, like, I'm so jealous! It's like, you must be enjoying it though. It's like, no one is paying any attention to you here. And of course they won't. The world of traditional arts is ruled by etiquette and hierarchy. They don't look kindly on people upsetting the usual order. It's like, you heard about that? It's like, I did. Do you regret it? Wish you hadn't done it? Do you think you made a mistake? Nakane's like, yes. I should not have used Rakugo to get my revenge on him. It's like, is that so? You don't regret the act of revenge itself? Akane's like, I became a Rakugoka in order to assert myself. So I want to be honest with myself. And you see with the whirl, she just like flips her head away. He's like, ha! Sounds like just the thing an apprentice of Shiguma-kun would say. He's like, Shiguma-kun! But that's fine, isn't it? If you don't intend to impose your own will, then there's no point to pursuing a life in the arts. Watch from the wings. I'll show you the basics of how to lead a self-centered life. God. Alright, so I'm not super sure what to think about this chapter, because they're obviously setting up Urara to be kind of like the seductress, the poison apple, for lack of a better term, with like the seductive glances and like the whole drug references, like the way she's kind of like slyly looking at Akane towards the end. So it'll be interesting to see like how her character gets changed and developed, because again, like the fact that they're touching on the ideas that, you know, part, or at least a large part of her appeal seems to be based on the idea that, you know, she's an attractive woman, a busty attractive woman. Because I don't know enough about Rakugo to like comment on this with any kind of certainty, but I assume again that this is a craft that's dominated by men. So I'm curious if they're going to be touching on sexism at all with her performance, with the arts specifically. Because again, given the fact that the association only had one woman at the meeting and like the rest are all men, makes me consider like, you know, there must be like sexism present to like some degree in this. I'm curious if they're going to be touching on that at all. And I'm also curious, you know, again, we're seeing how like the whole rumors are like, oh, you know, because the implication with Anxious Bro's rumors about like, you know, she just had to sit there and not say anything and she got the greatest applause. The implication is, you know, apart from like the fact that she has enough charisma to be able to pull it off. The implication is like, you know, she's so beautiful and pretty that, you know, just that's enough to just being eye candy is enough for her to, you know, get a rave performance, because, you know, men are willing to pay to come like see her see her beauty, like be entranced by it, all that. So I wonder how much like this is actually gonna touch on any or all of that, because it seems, I don't think it's what's the word I'm looking for. I don't think it's coincidental that we're starting this arc off by being like, oh, like rumors can ruin your reputation as a Rakugoka, like make it harder for you to find openings to perform and kind of find harder to kind of like make bonds, like create interpersonal relationships and stuff like that. And we're going into then like introducing the female Rakugoka, like who's being described as like being bewitching and like a bewitching, like a performance like a drug and all that, and like hearing a rumor about like, oh, how she did this thing. But I'm curious also, like, because that's the one aspect. It was like, all right, rumors can kind of like ruin your reputation, make it harder for you to like to get a leg up as a performer, etc. But I also feel like, there's the other end as well. Like, well, you can also use rumors to your advantage to kind of build up your reputation, create an image of yourself, like an image of yourself that you want to present to your audiences, and you can kind of use that to your advantage as well. So I'm curious if they're going to explore kind of like the duality of that with this character. But we'll see. I'll say I'm intrigued enough to see where this is going, but I'm curious how deep they're going to dig into it. But yeah. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, I will catch up with, I think there's only 4 or 5 more chapters left for Akane-Banashi. So I will likely catch up with those tomorrow. I might do, depending on the time right now, I might do one more video for today and then catch up with the other chapters tomorrow. But like I said, I will be trying to get caught up by the series by next week so that I can start doing weekly reaction reviews to it then. Like I also mentioned at the start, if you like my content, please do consider liking, commenting, subscribing. It's helping push those buttons, helps me promote my videos to the algorithm. And until next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.